Now, this G, because see, Masons don't know what the G represents. They say that it represents geometry, and it's not just geometry; it's actually sacred geometry or geometria, which is actually the science of the numbers and how you use numbers in order to decode the Bible, the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, the Spanish and different other holy books in which they're all around the world, because each one has a mathematical formula to them. The Quran is based off of the number 19, all the way through. And the number 19 is symbolic to, like we said before, if you study what is called hyperdimensional science, you'll find out that if you overlay this right here, which is actually a 6-pointed star. Let me do this better because this look kind of tore up. If you overlay a 6-pointed star, which you know this is basically what this is, or as we would do, if you overlay a 6-pointed star over any planet, you will find that at 19 degrees, 0.3, 0.47, 0.5, but it's always at 19 degrees, you will see a certain influx of energy or explosion of energy coming from out of each planet. Please cut the phone off. Just unplug. In which that upswells as it manifests. For example, if you go to the planet Jupiter, if you took this symbol and put it overlaid over top of Jupiter, you will find that directly at 19.5 degrees, which would be right around here, you will find that big red dot. Who ever seen the red dot on Jupiter? Okay. If you overlay the same symbol over the sun, you will find over the sun. Now, the reason why I'm giving you all of this is because I'm going to get into Islam and be getting ready to have to destroy, basically, not destroy, but I guess, I don't know what you want to call it. But we have to go into it. If you overlay the same symbol over the planet Earth, you will see the Hawaiian Islands. And that will explain why that volcano activity keep erupting at that particular angle, which is 19 degrees. If you go to, matter of fact, the Quran speaks of it, that over it is the number 19. The Quran speaks, that it says that in there, that over it is the number 19. Okay? So, if you overlay this on any of the planets in our solar system, if you do it on the sun, that's when you can see those solar flares and those mass ejections, what are called coronal mass ejections, come off from, in which that is producing the solar plasma off the sun. So that means that within this particular solar system, 19 degrees is what is over it. So whenever the Quran speaks that over it is the number 19, that's what it's referring to. Muslims think that it's talking about the Quran. The word Quran means cycle. A Quran is talking about the same thing as a precession of an equinox, which is 25,000 years approximately, or 25,590, 92, 98, depending on who you ask, years. 25,928, right, or 20 years, depending on who you ask. Okay. Now, what you're gonna find is this symbol right here. This is actually what this is. The center, when it's turned sideways and it becomes the eye, is actually this, the sun disk of Ra. The sun disk of Ra. And the sun disk is actually called Atan, which is, within your Bible, means Lord. And they call it Adon, or Adonai. Who ever heard of the Adonai? Adonai. Adon is the same thing as out of ancient Kemet during the time of Akhenaten. He unified all of the so-called the forces of nature together in order to become or comprise one word. This one word was Atan, in which that the Hebrews, or which was nothing more than you got to understand is that Hebrew was the language in which that the ancient Egyptians spoke. It was a language in which that was taught within their ancient mystery schools or ancient metaphysical schools or universities. They taught this language there. Okay? Now, Atan is the same word as Adon. With the Greek word, you will find it Adonis. Adonis means master. Adone, or Adonai, means Lord. Atan, as I showed you, is a symbol of Ra, once again, and it means basically representing the primordial point in the center, which is talking about the black dot, which is talking about your soul, and the creation in the outer center. Kabbalistic, Tefafret, and Hebrew, Darth. This is where you get the term within Star Wars, Darth Vader. That's why he was what? Black. The voice of James Earl Jones. Okay, his body armor was what? Black. And the voice was that of a black man.
So that's representing the atom, right?
This also represents the atom and the subatomic energy in which that inhibits the atom. We would call this what? The outer skirts is where the electrons will reside at. Inside of it would be where? Well, that's the cell. We're going to do an atom first. We're going to get back to the cell in a second. But inside of it would be what? The neutrons. Then right here, in which that inhibits the center of it, would be what is called what? The protons. And then the outskirts in which that is around it would be what's called photon, or light. And being that, if you notice, 99.9999% empty space, this is supposed to be filled with that photonic energy, that light. Why do you think they call it the sun disk, and then it's of Ra? Ra means light. And I told you before that the science of behind so-called Jesus or Yahshua actually came from Haru. Ru, or either Ha, means light. So in order to become Heru, or as we call him, Jesus or Christ, then you must absorb more light. And being that you are a melanated people, you have the proper gear for the job. You are the best absorber, conductor, and transformer of all 7 frequencies of energy, coming from electro power energy or television, radio wave frequency, on down to a microwave, to visible light spectrum, to UV rays or ultraviolet light spectrum, down to gamma rays, as well as the last one, cosmic rays.
Would that correspond to the 7 planetary rings?
Of course. As well as also to the 7 chakras, because that represents each state of a different body that you evolve into. If we are right now at the lowest body point, okay, that means that we have 7 more to evolve into. So even that means that you have the ability, for example, that means if before you can graduate to the next level, you must first conquer the level in which that you're on. So that means before you can get from the physical plane, you have to master the physical so that you can go to the astral. And then master the astral while you're there in order to go to, in other words, it's a continuous journey. Now, if you don't master it, the physical, then you come back to the physical in order to do it over again. If you don't master the astral, then you continue staying there and you do it over again. You get what I'm saying? So that means that your journey in becoming God never stops. It's an ever-ending story.